So here we are. We are literally at the point of leaving. A hell of a lot later than I had planned to leave today. We had planned to leave by, 10 o'clock, and it's now noon. But that's, I guess, how it goes. As far as how much exercise I've already gotten today, literally my little pedometer on here clicked off like 2.5 miles about 30 minutes ago. So just walking back and forth to the vehicle so many times and messing around. Already done 2.5 miles of walking and haven't even left my driveway yet. Honestly, it just feels like a dream. There's not even a lot of emotion. It's like it's one of those things where everything's been handed off to the house sitter and it doesn't feel real. It's like, yeah, I'd be emotional. Yeah, I would be emotional if we were actually leaving for a year, but it doesn't really feel like we're leaving for a year. So yeah, I don't know. I just figured this should be the one of the few moments in time that I should lock in as it is actually in fact happening, because it'll never be like this. Even if I talk to you guys tonight, the memory of this moment right now will be a little bit different than it actually is. It's just weird. I just feel like I'm kind of walking through a daze, to be honest with you. There's not excitement, there's not energy, there's none of that. It's just the kind of plodding along, doing the next thing. I guess tomorrow I'll be excited once I realize what's going on. Honestly, I haven't slept at all, truly. I woke up at midnight the night before last, and I woke up at midnight last night, so I really haven't slept much at all. So that might be the other reason why I'm just not here. But it's just that excitement of the adventure. Thinking about where we will be March 16th, 2016, a year from now. Because every big adventure that I have done really has changed me. There is something that you learn about yourself and you learn about the world, truly, every time you do it. Whether it was going to San Francisco, or whether it was going to Seattle, or whether it was going to India, or whether it was going to Europe, or whether it was going to Thailand. There was something about those places and just going there and experiencing those things that changed perspective. So I do wonder, with being a year on the road, how my perspective of reality will change. Anyways, I think Tonto wants to get moving and my wife wants to get moving. So I'll do one final shot here of good old Tonto. Tonto sniffing around the yard. Oops. That's kind of appropriate for a corgi. He's doing his one last poop on the yard to say that forever, no matter what, this will be his yard. Because this will probably be the last time that Tonto is here, as with his bone cancer. However it goes for my wife and I, at the end of the day, it is very, very doubtful that he will last a year. So this is his last moment here in this house we've been in for 4 years. So with that, kind of swing around, look at our little house here. An adventure. What will the adventure bring? So here we go, get some real-time experience for you guys. So we've been towing this trailer now for about 2.5 hours, and I do have to say, towing a trailer gets better. The main thing that I'm finding now is it's the only real difficult part, the really nerve-wracking part, once you get used to having the trailer behind you, is simply switching lanes, especially on smaller roads, because nobody wants to give you any space. But other than that, it's not too bad. Like on the interstate driving the thing, still definitely getting used to it. But I don't know. That everybody said that when semi-trucks would go by you, it would really make the trailer sway a lot. Not really finding that, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's definitely different having a trailer behind you, and it takes more attention. But it's not. I don't know. It's not that big a deal. You know what I'm saying? It's like. I'm not getting cocky or anything here, but it doesn't really seem to be that bad. So it's nice, 72-degree weather. It's really nice to be on a trip, and already 2.5 hours into it, it's 10 degrees warmer down here in Virginia than it was up in Maryland. So we're about an hour away from Colonial Williamsburg. So I just got gas. This is eating gas right now, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So just got some gas and go for about another hour, and we will be at our first stop tonight in Colonial Williamsburg. Well, here we are, 7 o'clock, 7:17 p.m. specifically, March 16th, Monday. So we are officially now in Williamsburg, Virginia. We have officially left the house. It is over, it is done. That portion of our life, no matter what happens from here on out, the portion of life that we were just living is officially over. And at least as of right this second, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. We're down here in Williamsburg, Virginia. And the main reason I picked Williamsburg, Virginia to go to first is one, my wife loves Colonial Williamsburg for some reason. I don't really know why. You know how there are those places in life that people just love, they adore, no matter how many times they go there. Colonial Williamsburg is one of those places for my wife. And so what I was looking at is I figured, you know, this first day of traveling, I didn't want to go too far. I knew it was going to be really, really stressful driving the travel trailer. So I wanted to go a decent amount. I didn't want it to go farther than an hour, but I didn't want to go 8 hours type of deal, right? So I figured we come down here. It's like 180, 190 miles from Reisterstown. It was supposed to take us about a little over 3 hours if we drove normally. Ended up taking us about 4.5 hours because we drove slower than the speed limit much of the way, and you know, had to stop for gas and all that. So overall, that's kind of why I picked this location. You know, it's far enough that we're actually going somewhere, and not so far that I'm going to lose my mind. And it was someplace that my wife wanted to go. The other thing that I like is this is now far enough south from Maryland that the weather is nicer. So it's about 10 degrees warmer down here than it is in Maryland. So right now, today, it got to be like a high of 75 here. So it's, like I said, 7:17 at night. You can see I'm here in a t-shirt. It feels good. It's probably like 70 degrees right now. So that's nice too, is trying to get down into the warmth or warmer weather. Because I really have to say that, you know, a lot of wanting to go out there and do adventure and all that kind of stuff really is like how you feel. You know, if you feel crappy and if you feel cold and you feel nasty, it's normal just to kind of want to curl up in your house and not want to go anywhere. So we're really trying to get south so that it starts warming up and this whole thing feels a lot better. Because it is, I mean, it is scary, it is worrisome. I really did almost get run off the road today, or run the other guy off the road. I guess it really has to do, that all depends on how much mass either of our vehicles have. You know, it's like one of those things like, wow, we have left our house. The house sitter has our house. We are out here with a Ford Escape and a tiny little travel trailer and a Corgi. And how the hell is this gonna go? So, you know, the better you feel physically, the better you feel environmentally, the more you're gonna wanna go out to do these things. So as far as this morning went, this morning took a lot longer than I expected, to be honest with you. I figured we'd be out of the house at about 10 o'clock in the morning. We had our house sitter come over at 9:30, figured the house sitter would come over, we show them a few things and then leave. Ended up not leaving till noon. But, you know, it's one of those things. There's all this tedious stuff to wrap up that you don't think about. Like cleaning out the refrigerator takes a surprising amount of time. And there's all this little stuff, you know, connecting this is the first time I've connected the travel trailer to my vehicle completely by myself. So getting all of that set up, you know, unhooking all the things, just doing all of that kind of stuff really took a lot more time than expected. So just something to think about, you know, if you're going out on one of these adventures, give yourself an extra 2 or 3 or 4 hours because you will most likely need it. As far as driving the travel trailer, I have to say I am not an expert yet. I'm not like an expert, but I'm feeling a lot better after driving that thing for about 4 hours or so today. I really feel more comfortable with it. My hands were definitely sore by the end of it because, you know, I was stressed. I'm not going to say I wasn't stressed driving, but you start to feel more comfortable doing it. So one of the things that makes me really stressed driving it is I don't really trust where the trailer is behind me. So you're used to, like when I'm used to driving, I don't normally think about putting my car in between the lines on the road. At this point in my life, you just drive and the car is between the lines of the road. Well, when you have all these vehicles and everything moving behind you and you've got this trailer, as you do turns, I don't have that confidence that the trailer is between the lines in the road. So a lot of my stress level was simply looking at the mirrors, making sure that the trailer was where the hell it was supposed to be. And the thing is, 99.9% of the time, it was where it was supposed to be. So if I can get more comfortable, if I can start to trust the trailer more, then that will reduce my stress level, because if I know the trailer is where it's supposed to be, then I don't have to check on where the trailer is, and then that's all kinds of stressful. Beyond that, driving, the big thing was I had to be slower than a lot of the other traffic, and so that was a bit of a pain in the butt, making sure that I didn't lose control. Yeah. Driving with a trailer, it is definitely a different feel than driving without a trailer. So making sure I have control over the vehicle, and so driving slower than a lot of the traffic. Even in Maryland, where the speed limit is 65, people still do 75. So there it was a pain in the butt. But then you come down here to Virginia, and the speed limit itself is 70. So just kind of trucking along, having everybody be pissed off at you. But that wasn't so bad. The main problem that I found, the only dangerous thing that I found driving it, is coming down here. There were a couple of left exits. So normally here in the US, we drive on the right side of the road, so there's right exits, and that's easy. So you stay in the right lane. If you're slow, there's a right exit, so you just go off in the right. No big deal, really. The issue is around here, there's quite a few of these left exits. And so the problem is the left lane is the fast lane. So you have a slow vehicle that's not going very fast, that has to get in the fast lane, and then people are just complete and utter morons. That's where some vehicle almost got run off the road. I'm not sure if it was my vehicle or the other vehicle, because like I said, it all goes down to that whole mass thing. Because literally, it was an open road. It was a clear road. I looked over to my left, and I could barely see. There was a truck behind me, but it was so far back, it wasn't any big deal. So I turn on my little blinkers, and I'm slowly going over to make sure I don't screw around with my trailer. And literally, this guy hits the accelerator and goes 100 miles an hour. So by the time I'm getting in the middle of the lane, he's already coming into the middle of me. He actually goes onto the shoulder. And then I'm like, what the hell? And so I veer back. He doesn't even veer back or slow. He just keeps speeding up, and you're just like, oh my golly. So that's how it is. I think with that is the more confident I get. It was kind of like I used to drive big trucks for a while, not semi trucks, but big moving type truck things. I worked for this event production company, and we had these 30-foot plus long trucks that we used to drive, 30, 40 foot, I guess. And so one of the things you learn with those trucks is that you just go where you want to go. And then basically you have the assumption that you're going to run over anybody that gets in your way, which works surprisingly well. I'm just going to put that out there as one of those philosophies for life you might want to think about. It's amazing how often, if you act as if you don't care if you run the other person over, that they will back off. They will back off 99.999% of the time. So I think I just have to get more comfortable with that, with the trailer. With a big vehicle, I would still have that confidence. The issue with the trailer is there are just so many of these little control issues with it. How do I put this? If I hit another vehicle with a big truck, I'm not worried about losing control and killing everybody. I am more concerned if a trailer smacks into something else that it could go severely badly. So that's just, I think the more confident I get, the better that will be. Other than that, driving it down the road, there was some wind some places, and that was what it was. Had to slow down a little bit. I do have to say though, there are a lot of people out there that made me all scared or worried about semi trucks blasting past and screwing with the vehicle. So they say the semi trucks will pass you, and then when they pass you, your entire vehicle and the trailer moves and all that because of wind displacement or air displacement, I suppose. I really didn't have much of that issue. You could tell when a semi truck was going by, but it wasn't ah! So I'm not really sure what that is about. I could see if there was a lot more wind, if there was a lot of wind and you had a semi go by, maybe that would be a little more concerning. But just having the semis whiz by that close to me, it really didn't. I didn't like having semis whiz by me, but I mean, that's just semis. It didn't really affect much of anything. Other than that, it was just trucking along. I was surprised. It was driving the trailer down here was a lot easier than I thought it would be. The big things to think about if you guys are going to get a trailer is you have to think more about driving. You kind of have to go back to how you were when you were 16 and you were learning how to drive a car. Remember when you used to think about driving, like, I want to go from here to there, and you actually had to think about it, right? Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to hit the clutch, and then I'm going to hit the gas, and then I'm going to shift, right? You had to think about it back then. Now, you just hop in the car. If you're like me, you just hop in the car, you hit the gas, you go from point A to point B. The big thing that I'm finding with the trailer is you kind of have to go back to being a 16-year-old and think about what you're doing. So today, when I got gas, so towing a trailer eats gas. It guzzles gas. Oh my golly. It's not like the Ford Escape had the best gas mileage to begin with, and hauling that trailer, bad. Anyways, so I went to get gas, and I was filling up, and normal, big deal. But then the thing was, and this is why you have to think about how you're going to drive, is how the gas station was situated. I couldn't just pull in. I couldn't just drive in, stop at the gas station, the gas pump, and then pull directly out. It was in its own weird little cul-de-sac-y thing. So I had to think about how I was literally going to be able to drive out of this gas station. So I pulled into the pump on the farthest side, and then after I did that, you have to give yourself enough of a turn radius. So then I had to drive literally like all around all of the different pumps, and then circle back, and then circle out. So normally, again, you would just back up, or you would just do whatever in a car. And that's the thing, is you have to think about what you're doing. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm sure after a month or two doing this, I won't even think about it anymore, but at least right now doing it, I do have to think about it. So you have to think about what you're doing, and then you just have to feel like you're in control of the trailer. I think that's the biggest thing that I think probably causes problems for people, is they feel like they should be doing something, and so they do things when they don't feel in control. So the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, so I need to drive 70 miles an hour. And I think that's the issue with the trailer is, at least for me, I can feel what the trailer is doing, and so I'm going at the speed, and I'm doing what is required to stay safe. I don't care what the speed limit is. I don't care if somebody honks at me. I don't care if I'm pissing people off. The important thing is to remain safe. And so I think that's the other issue that probably gets a lot of people into trouble, is you zip down the highway at 70 or 75 miles an hour because you want to go 75 miles an hour. And I could see that. If you're not used to driving one of these trailers behind you, and you start doing 75 miles an hour, and then you have semis whipping by you, and then you have gusts of air, I could see that causing you a lot of issues. Whereas, like I say, with me, I was going along at like 60, maybe 65 miles an hour. Semis whiz by. Really, like I say, no real issues at all. Other than that, we got down here. We're staying at a KOA. So a KOA is basically, it's the McDonald's or the Walmarts of the camping world. I've stayed at a few back when I tent camped a long time ago. So I decided that we would stay at a KOA down here simply because I know what the quality is going to be like. You don't get a lot of personality. You don't get all kinds of quirky stuff, but you do get a good, solid place to stay. So we drove down here, and we came to this KOA, and I like this KOA so far. There's almost nobody here. So this KOA opened March 1st, so it's March 16th. So there's about 5 other people staying at this particular KOA, but hey, that's good by me. What, people? Who says I want to be around people? Don't be foolish, people. So we came down here and I basically pulled in, and they told us where to go, and I was surprised how easy it was to set up the little trailer. So now that I'm getting a little more comfortable with how everything works, really it took me about 10 minutes to set up the trailer. And so that's disconnecting everything, that's connecting up all the water and the electricity and the sewer, dropping the jacks and all that kind of stuff. So I feel a lot better about that too. I was a little worried about how long it would take, to set up the trailer, set up and break down. And so really just being able to pull in about 10 minutes, everything's set up and done. Sounds like a good deal for me. So So yeah, that's that is about where we are at with all this. Tonto seems to be pretty happy. Took Tonto on a walk down here, and he was bouncy as hell. He's still got that ACL limp going on, but otherwise he was really excited. He was pulling, he was peeing on everything. So Tonto has officially decided to claim the world. My boy. Taken after his father's heart. I'm just gonna pee on everything. Everything is mine. So he's peeing on everything, but he's doing well. My wife's doing well. We had our first dinner out in the wilds here, so the little kitchen, the propane burner, and all that worked well. So overall, I feel good. Overall, I feel good. It doesn't feel weird yet. I'm still in a bit of a haze, though, to be honest with you. I haven't really slept the last couple of days. Last night, I woke up at midnight. And so I've been up for a while now, all right? And the night before, I woke up at about midnight or 1 o'clock. So I've gotten very, very little sleep. I've gotten like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, real sleep over the last 2 days. So I feel out of it just generally, but overall I feel good. It was weird. I was talking to my wife about that, and it's kind of funny right now because I don't really feel any real emotions, like one way or the other. I don't really feel like scared. I also really don't feel excited. You know, I don't really feel worried, and I don't really feel like, I don't know, there's like, you know how it is? Normally there's some like overriding emotion. You don't want to necessarily tell anybody about it, but you have an overriding emotion. And kind of right now, I think I'm kind of sleepwalking in a lot of ways, which may be because I'm sleepwalking. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's that weird feeling. And why I'm telling you guys feelings like this is so that you understand when you go out and you talk with people who are doing really cool and impressive things in life, that you understand that they're not feeling whatever it is you imagine that they should feel. I've had that a lot in life where I'll be doing something, some crazy ass whatever idea I've had, and then people come up to me and they want to talk about it, but then they keep inserting all of these things, all these emotions, all these concepts that I'm not feeling. You know, aren't you excited? Oh, if I was in your shoes, I'd be so excited. You must be so excited. You must be so excited. And you're sitting there like, well, no, actually, I'm not really excited. Oh man, I'd be scared. Right now, if I was in your, it's like, well, actually, right now, I'm not scared. I mean, overall, I guess the concept, I'm scared. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, but like right now, I'm kind of just sleepwalking. And that's what the issue that you get into is when you try to talk with people, they keep trying to insert all of this stuff that you may not necessarily be feeling at all. You're like, and then that kind of shuts down the conversation. Just a thought there. So tomorrow, I think we are going to go to Colonial Williamsburg. So Colonial Williamsburg is the recreated colonial settlement. Williamsburg. It's pretty nice. We've been there a couple times, so I'll do some video footage and all that there. Because tomorrow is going to be 75 degrees. And then we are going to stay, so that's Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I think we've pretty much decided we're going to stay here all day Wednesday and leave Thursday. And so Wednesday, we're going to go to Jamestown. So I've never actually been to Jamestown. It's one of those weird things. Like, I've been through this area a lot, been to Colonial Williamsburg quite a few times. And you always hear about Jamestown, but I never actually have gone there, so we'll go to Jamestown, take some footage of that, maybe see some other things, and then Thursday we're going to be leaving. Now initially on Thursday, or when we left here, the plan was to go all the way down to Charleston, South Carolina. Not feeling confident in that. Yeah, that was the original plan. Doing the trip today, I could definitely do further than I did today. I don't want to do all the way to Charleston, South Carolina. I don't feel comfortable with that. So Charleston, South Carolina from here, if I just had the Ford Escape, if I just had a car and didn't have a trailer, would be about 6.5 hours per Google Maps, right? So if you figure that I won't be going the speed limit, probably a chunk of the way, and you figure I have a corgi and wife that take potty breaks as much as corgis and wives do. That means a trip would probably turn into somewhere between 8 to 9 hours, and I don't feel comfortable with an 8 or 9 hour trek yet. Because there's still, it's one of those, and that's where you have to think about with anything that you're doing, is I can foresee the point in time where I will be able to drive 7 or 8 hours and be okay with it. It's still a long day of driving, but I would feel okay with it. But just because I can see that future doesn't mean that's where I'm at now. And so if I look at it today, let's say it was 4.5 hours of driving, I could see doing 5, maybe 6 hours of driving total. So that won't get us down to Charleston, South Carolina. That'll get us somewhere between here and there. So over the next day or so, we have to, we'll just sit down with the KOA books or some of these books and see where there's some RV park between here and there. The nice part is, again, we figured out that it only takes about 10 minutes to set up the trailer. So that doesn't make me feel that bad. Again, if it was gonna take like half an hour to set up the trailer every single time, it'd be like, ugh. But if it only takes like 10-15 minutes to set it up, that's no big deal. So probably on Thursday then we'll leave early, we'll find someplace not quite midway, I'd like further than midway between here and Charleston, South Carolina, and then we'll go there and we will see how it goes. So this is the first day. The weird thing is they with these RV parks, they give you cable TV. Most of them do. So you go in, they give you electricity and water and sewer and cable, as long as you pay for that level of service. And it's funny because I was looking there and I was looking at all the cable channels they have, and then I was kind of sad. I was like, oh, we don't have a TV. Oh, the first night of no TV. Oh, it'll get better, I suppose. It'll get better. It's funny, like TV. Again, I'm not a fan of TV. I'm not like one of those guys that loves TV, but I do watch TV. And it's just this pattern that my wife and I have gotten into. It's simply 8 o'clock every night. We sit down and we watch some hour show. For a long time it was Doctor Who, but whether it's Doctor Who or Castle or Forever or one of these other stupid shows, we sit there, we drink our bedtime tea, then she normally goes to bed, and then I watch some other stupid show, and then I go to bed. And again, it's not necessarily because we prefer TV or think TV is the greatest thing in the world. It's just like that thing we do. At the end of the day, when your brain is just fried, you sit down in front of the TV with bedtime tea. And we no longer have TV to sit in front of. Oh well, that will be our little life on the road. But I'm feeling good about this. Feeling excited about this. I think this is good. Again, as I always say, we'll see in a month. We'll see in 6 months. But right now, this second, March 16th at 7:17 or whatever time it is right now, I'm very excited. I think this is a good plan. We'll have to see in a month or a year or so.